What's up, everybody? I'm Alan Seslowsky, and thanks for tuning in to Roster Watch. There is no doubt that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be one of the most prolific offenses from a fantasy football perspective once again in 2020. As long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy, anyone catching passes from him or in the backfield running the ball is going to be fantasy relevant. Even names further down the depth chart need to be learned sooner rather than later so you can make a move on those players or in deeper leagues, add them right away. Today on this video, we're going to discuss 3 players on the Kansas City offense and what their particular fantasy outlook is right from the start of the season. The first player I want to talk to you about is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie running back on the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, it was a bit of a surprise that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the first running back taken in the first round of the real NFL draft. There were 3 prospects, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and J.K. Dobbins, that were graded slightly higher on many credible analyst draft boards. That said, his first-round draft capital, along with the opportunity in the landing spot, make Clyde Edwards-Helaire likely the best fantasy option of all of the rookie running backs. The only obstacle to playing time was last year's standout Super Bowl almost MVP, Damien Williams, the running back who was going to presumably get at least 50% of the carry share. On a recent Roster Watch podcast, special guest Terez Paylor even underlined that Damien Williams is an elite pass blocker, and that certainly would have kept him on the field for a good portion of the time. Now, it is fair to assume that Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs thought that Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be a good pass blocker as well, or else they likely wouldn't have taken him in the first round. So where does that leave Clyde Edwards-Helaire now that Damien Williams has opted out of the 2020 season? If you're wanting to find out, you're going to have to spend a mid-first round pick. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's ADP is all the way up to 8th overall. The second player I want to talk to you about is Mecole Hardman, the second-year wide receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs. Mecole is a player that hasn't received too much offseason buzz, although we have seen his hive come out on social media if you pay attention there. The fantasy community acknowledges his high-efficiency rookie season, evident by his monster 20.6 yards per target. It can't be ignored, though, that Hardman's rookie season opportunities were limited, where he only had 41 passing targets thrown his way. With presumed starting wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins healthy, along with target hog tight end Travis Kelce, it's hard to see where Hardman's increase in volume may come from. As we've talked about before, in a COVID-19 context, Hardman could be thrust into a good spot at any point during any of the season. Again, referencing Roster Watch podcast number 272, guest Terez Paylor believes that Hardman's breakout year is more likely to come in 2021. Hardman will be barely 23 years old by 2021 and still projects to be an excellent player with fantasy relevance. Before we continue, just a quick word about what's going on over at Roster Watch. The 2020 Roster Watch Ultimate Draft Cheat Sheet is available now at RosterWatch.com. The revolutionary cheat sheet that changed fantasy football forever is back only at RosterWatch.com. The Roster Watch Ultimate Draft Cheat Sheet, all you need to do is follow 3 simple rules. That's it. It couldn't be any easier, and an expert quality fantasy football draft is guaranteed. The Roster Watch Ultimate Draft Cheat Sheet is available now at RosterWatch.com. The third player I want to talk to you about is Sammy Watkins. Raise your hand if you've been burned by Sammy Watkins in fantasy. Okay, everybody, put your hands down. That said, Sammy Watkins is currently getting drafted as the 57th wide receiver off the board, somewhere in the 10th round. Watkins has been a disappointment relative to his expectations for much of his football career. But how is a starting wide receiver in a Patrick Mahomes offense available in the 10th round? It appears to be a severe blind spot by the draft market. We don't even have to project Sammy Watkins as he already has banked production. In week 1 of 2019, who remembers the 9-catch, 198-yard, 3-touchdown line that Sammy Watkins put up and likely gave you 45 PPR fantasy points or even more with some bonuses? The ceiling is there, and if he stays healthy, there should be a reasonable floor too. Sammy Watkins is in a contract year, and though there's no scientific information to connect contract year with production, we have to think that he's going to be highly motivated. He even took a discount to stay with Kansas City. Sammy Watkins in the 10th round, presuming health, which again I know is a stretch for Sammy Watkins, but the risk is priced in. He has to be thought about on most of your fantasy teams. Okay, Roster Watch Nation, that's it for today. Remember to like and subscribe to get notifications when we go live, and leave us a comment in the video. We will comment back. Till next time, goodbye.